College Board tests. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to solve. And when do we finish the course?
23rd. No,
17th. 17th?
Yeah.
Okay. And when is your examination?
4th May.
4th May.
No, 5th May.
5th of May. 4th of May.
No,
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys to do College Board tests 2 plus 3. Because I also want you guys to bring as many questions as possible. So that is a considerable workload. I want you guys to bring both quantitative and verbal, so please feel free to do so.
יש לי שאלה.
Yeah.
אתה חושב שזה כאילו too much לעשות נגיד מבחן כל יום?
But now it is. Now, again, this examination, this course is a bit of a freak. Why? Because we have many lessons. So that means that the same number of tests, we have approximately 20 full tests, the same number of tests need to be spread out throughout 15 lessons and not 10 lessons. So what usually happens during my SAT courses is that during the last week before the examination, yes, people do take an examination once per day, but that's not always the case. No, it is effective. It is effective as long as you review, as long as you have like a big chunk of about 5 hours per day, take the examination and you're also able to review it. You're very good, you're very adept. What is adept? With an E? No. That's adept. What is it? Adept? Skillful. Very good at, right? Very proficient. As well, as long as you are adept at reviewing examinations, that's fantastic. Adapt זה להסתגל. Adapt זה מיומן. Very skillful. Very good. אשף, בדיוק, exactly. And adopt, כמובן זה לאמץ, נכון? Okay, so where do we start? We start with the handouts. Which handout? Yeah, go ahead.
Lesson number 6, it's sequences. And
Sequences, lesson number 6.
כן, שאלה 4, 5.
So if you have it, so it's lesson number 6, sequences, 4, 5 אמרת?
4, 5, 13, 14,
4, 5, 13, 14, לא.
לא, השני זה משהו אחר, ratio, לא יודעת.
Okay, let's start with this while you get it organized. So, lesson number 6, sequences, questions 4 and 5. The last 2 questions here were relatively difficult ones. Even if you don't have them, take a look at this. Haven't we solved this together? Didn't we solve this last time? No. Last week? No? We haven't? Okay. So, take a look. SN equals, remember what we do. We always ask ourselves, is it a must question? Is it a maybe question? If it's a must question, we plug in numbers in order to eliminate. If it's a maybe questions, we plug in numbers or comfortable scenarios in order to eliminate. And if it's maybe questions, we plug in answer choices in order to confirm. So SN equals 1 over 201, 1 over 202, 1 over 300, all the way to 1 over 300. SN will be found in which of the following ranges? So SN is a sum. These are ranges. So this is a range from 0 to a third. This is a range from 1/3 to 1/2. This is a range from 1/2 to 1. So on and so forth. Where is SN going to be? Now, I wasn't able to solve the question. Immediately I asked myself, is this a must question? Is this a maybe question? What is this?
Maybe.
No. Actually, there is one particular, this has to be equal to a certain sum. בסדר? אני יודע. אבל...
זה עדיין.
Can you pass him the handouts from last week's? Rubik's as well. Tell me you brought them.
לא שכם.
Okay.
אפשר כאילו לעשות לו פוטוקופי. בעלתיים
כן. Okay. So, I agree with you that a range is not something specific. The answer is not something specific, but the sum itself is something specific. Got it? The sum itself has to be something accurate. Yeah? So, what do? I plug in comfy numbers or comfortable scenarios, right? Now, what is a comfortable number here? You have 1 over 201, 1 over 202, 1 over 203, blah, 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 1 over 299, 1 over 300. What is a comfortable number to work with? Anyone? 200, I agree. 200, let's start with that. Now, what he's saying is this. You know what? Instead of these very ugly numbers, let's assume, perfect, Ubi. Let's assume that each of them is 1 over 200. Now, that's not really the case. Nothing here is 1 over 200.
It's less.
Exactly. We have, each of them, we have how many items from here to here? Approximately 100, right? I mentioned a lot approximately. 300 minus 201 is 99 gaps. 99 gaps means 100 items, exactly. In the same manner that 4 gaps mean 5 fingers, right? So, he's saying that, you guys are saying that we have 100 items, right? Each of which is, well, these are ugly, let's work with 1 over 200. But, it's not 1 over 200, right? This is less than 1 over 200. This is less than 1 over 200. This is less than 1 over 200. Everybody agrees? Now, wait, if you were to have 100 items, each of which 1 over 200, of a value of 1 over 200, then the sum would have been what?
Less than a half.
1/2, exactly. But since we're talking about numbers that are less than 1 over 200, it's going to be less than 1/2. Got it? What is going to be the correct answer choice?
B.
Why?
Because half minus 1 is a half.
Half minus 1?
This.
No, it's not half minus 1. This is between half of and a 1.
Yeah,
The
so I
range-
said B is the correct answer.
Why?
Because all the others are wrong.
Listen, everybody agrees that the sum has to be less than a half? She's right. This is between a third and a half. What is a third? A third is a 0.33. What is a half? A 0.5. And we just realized that it's going to be less than 1/2. You know what? Let's prove it. Let's do it the other way around. The first number that we related to was the smallest number. Was the largest number of that particular sum, which is the first one. It has the least denominator. Let's take a look at the last one. This is going to be the smallest one, right? So you tell me, no. Let's assume that we have 100 items, each of which is approximately what? 1 over 300. Got it? So at the beginning, Ubik chose 1 over 200, and now I'm choosing 1 over 300 because I want to see, you know, the sum from its right-hand side and also from its left-hand side. Okay. Now, Noe, are all these items 1 over 300 or
What?
are they 1 over 300? They're not, right?
No.
This is
Big.
less or more?
More.
More. This is more. Everything here is more than 1 over 300. Got it? So that means that if I were to multiply this by that, I would have gotten more than a third. Got it? That's it. That is proof positive that it's going to be more than a third and less than a half. And it all boiled down to, I don't know what this question is, this is a must question. Let me plug in comfy numbers. What is a convenient number? A number whose denominator is a nice round number, and then we can work with it. Either it's going to be 1 over 200 or 1 over 300. Guess what? It solves the question. Yes.
לפעמים שאמרת בראשון שלך, אז גם A יכול להיות נכון.
No, because it's more than a half, more than a third.
אבל בהתחלה לא אמרת שזה צריך להיות...
I agree. But we get a feeling, she's right in the sense that this is also less than a half. Everybody sees it?
But it's
What
not
is it?
more than a third.
No, let's assume that she's talking only about my first explanation. But based on this, I know the sum has to be less than a half. What she's saying is that less than a half is either answer choice B or answer choice A. She's right. Answer choice A is also between 0 and 1/3. Can you please finish sharpening that pencil? Thank you. It's this, oh, are you serious? אני חושב שזה הרסת לו את ההקלטה. It's both of these are correct, but most people, by the way, seeing this would feel, I cannot prove it to you, but most people, if I were to ask, so, you know, everybody here, so what would you gamble? The answer choice is, about 70% say that this is it, because they get a feeling is that, you know, the difference between 1 over 300 and 1 over 200, it's a very tiny difference. So, you know, it's going to be close to 1/2. It's not going to be exactly 1/2, but most people would be quite positive that it's not going to go all the way down to 0, 2, 3. Got it? But you can also see it from the other way. Yeah.
Can we do question 2?
I'm sorry?
In the same page.
Yes. No, okay?
Yes.
What do you take away from this question? And please I want you to do me a favor, and whenever, please ask me to implement this every single time. Because sometimes when I'm familiar with a question, I just go ahead and I solve it instead of trying to tell you what you needed to do given that particular scenario. Remember, I'm not solving questions for you guys. I'm teaching you how you should be solving questions. It's a very minute difference, but it does exist. Yeah, go ahead. So what are you taking away from this?
I think that you need to take the two edges, and then
Yeah, if you have ranges, yes, you need to be talking about both edges. But I think that was not iffy. If you were, because your quantitative capabilities are quite good, if you were to think about, a convenient number, then probably you would be able to solve the question. By the way, this is about a 95th percentile question. This is a question that is probably going to show up as one of the last two questions on a quantitative section. Yeah, it's not a very easy question. So let's go back to question number 2, and then we'll move on to question number 5. I'm sorry?
You speak too loud, and I don't know
What would you like me to do?
the
But you have an answer key. So why do you need me? You guys have an answer key? Let's just do it. In a certain set, each item is 7 greater than the previous item. What is this? What does this remind you of? נכון, זה סט, נכון, בדיוק. אמרנו שאנחנו קוראים לזה סט, ואמריקאים קוראים לזה בדיוק, הם קוראים לזה סיקוונס. Set זו מילה גם כן מאוד מאוד טובה. This is actually an arithmetic set, and the difference is constant, right? The difference is constant. Now, they tell us that the first item is a 5, and the second item is 7 greater. So A2 is going to be 12, and A3 is going to be plus 7, so that's going to be 19 and so on and so forth. And then they asked me, what is the value of the 20th item? Now, here's the deal. We said that on these examinations, there is a maximum, on this examination, there is a maximum of 10, what?
Count.
Simple counts, fantastic. Or 4? Solution stages, exactly. Now, if they were to ask me about item number 10, you know what, maybe I would have even counted it, maybe. No, it's not the right way to go. But obviously, if they're asking me about item number 20, there has to be a...
Other way.
Exactly, another way. Now, I just mentioned it. I just told you that if we have from 300 to 201, we have 99 gaps. But if we have 99 gaps, how many items do we have? 100, right? The number of items is always going to be 1 more than the number of gaps, right? 4 gaps, 5 fingers. So how many gaps do we have between
19.
20 and 1? 19, exactly. So we're going to have 19 gaps, each of which equals a 7. Got it? That's it. So it's going to be 5 plus 19 times a 7. You have a calculator. Another way of doing this...
זה A1 גודל מינוס 1D.
נכון, that's exactly...
A1 גודל מינוס 1D.
Of course. But here's, and again, I teach math, but I deliberately don't teach, formulae for both arithmetic set and geometric sets on an SAT examination. This is not just that. This is not what they are after, absolutely. In fact, whenever I'm teaching, for example, combinations and probability, people who usually mess up are people who do know the formulas, because these examinations don't want you to know formulas. They want you to understand the logic behind it. I'll show the formula in a second. Now, if I don't have a calculator, how do I do this quickly? Well, 5 is like 7 minus 2, right? So it's like minus 2 plus 7 plus 19 times a 7. Again, this is just a nice practice as far as finding convenient numbers to work with, right? So 1 times a 7 plus 19 times a 7 is 20 times a 7, right?
140 minus
Exactly, minus the 2, right? So 140 minus 2, 138. The correct answer choice is E. Would you like me to show you the formula? A20 equals A1 plus 19D, where D is the difference. Got it?
Okay.
AN equals A1, and this is what Noy said, A1 plus N minus 1, D. This is formula. Yep.
אני עשיתי בטעות 7 כפול 20 ועוד 5.
No. Yeah, you made the same mistake. Now you understand. Remember that if we're talking... אני אכתיב את זה פעם אחת, למרות שרוב האנשים אומרים כן, זה ברור, אבל בפועל כמעט תמיד אנשים מטיבים ככה שהם מכתיב את זה, אז אני אומר את זה. משהו מעניין. בשאלות הכוללות פריטים ומרווחים ביניהם. So, in questions that contain items and gaps between, and gaps among these items, פסיק. צריך לזכור we need to remember that מספר, שימו לב איך אני רושם את זה בצורה של משוואה, מספר הפריטים שווה למספר מספר המרווחים פלוס 1, נכון. So the number of items equals the number of gaps plus 1. Now, מספר המרווחים זה ההפרש. בין 300 לבין 201 יש הפרש של 99, פלוס 1 זה 100 פריטים. בין 20 לבין 1 יש כמה הפרשים? 19, נכון? ואז הוא אומר באמת שמספר הפריטים יהיה 20, נכון?
אבל כבר אומרים לך שיש פה 20.
נכון, אבל הייתי יכולה, תסתכלי, בשאלה, from the previous question, we knew that if there is a difference of 99, then the number of items is going to be 100. So we use this in order to calculate that. If you know this, and if this is ingrained, what you can do is you can work the other way around very quickly. You're saying, oh, item number 20, item number 1, 19 gaps. Got it? So you can take the number of items and then deduce the number of gaps. Got it? Which is what I did here. בסדר, זו הטעות. בסדר, אז גם שלך וגם של שי. טוב, הלאה. Question number 5. Question number 5. First of all, please, let's read the question. N is an integer such that n is more than or equal to 1, and an equals 1 over n times minus 1 to the power of n plus 1. First of all, I want you guys to remember that this is simanim mitchalfim. These are alternating signs. This is an indication of alternating signs. Why is that? Because think about it. If minus 1 is to the power of an even number, minus 1 to an even number, that's plus 1, right? Mm-hmm. And minus 1 to an odd, that is minus 1. Everybody agrees? Okay, so please remember this. Now, no, again, you can't solve a question. You immediately ask yourself, is this a must question or a maybe question? They're asking me S60 is equal to the sum of the numbers from the first one to the 60th one. Which of the following is true? Basically, it's very, very similar to the previous question. So again, we have ranges, but this is a must question. What do? We plug in comfortable numbers or comfortable scenarios in order to eliminate, sometimes in order to understand, right? So what is the most convenient number to work with?
1 and 2.
0, but I cannot plug in a 0 here. Got it? I want you to think about it automatically. I'm thinking about 0, I cannot plug in a 0. Then I'm going to think about a 1, right? So let's do this. A1, basically whenever I see n, everybody sees this, A1 equals, so my n is 1, which means that whenever I'm going to see an n, I'm going to plug in 1. Everybody sees it? So that's going to be what? That's going to be 1 over 1 times minus 1 to the power of 1 plus 1. Everybody sees it? I don't know, honestly. I didn't know how to solve the question, so I'm just going to plug in a convenient number. And the most convenient number to work with is 0, and then 1, and then 2. Now, it's not just arbitrary, because AS60, the sum of 60 items, is comprised of the first one, plus the second one, plus the third one. Got it? So what I'm just doing now, which is kind of a second nature to us, right? Plugging in 0, 1, and 2, is also applicable here because this is one of the items that make up the sum of 60 items. Got it? So A1, everybody sees it, this is going to be 1 over 1 times minus 1 to the power of 2, which is minus 1 times a 1, which is 1 times 1, which is
It's 1 over 2.
Why?
No.
Moving on, please. A2. So dictate it to me, please. It's 1 over 2 times minus 1 to the power of
3.
2 plus 1, exactly, 3. Now this is going to be a half, but minus 1 to the power of 3, that's minus 1 to the power of an odd number. So that's going to be
Minus one.
minus, exactly. So this is going to be minus 1 times a half. That's minus a half. Everybody agrees? And you were slightly perplexed before, perplexed except a little bit. So why do I do this? Well, now after you do this twice, you get a much better feeling of what's going on here, right? Then the plug it in just becomes easier, right? A3, right? A3 is going to be what? It's going to be 1 over 3 times 1 minus 1 to the power of 4, right? So that's going to be plus a third, minus a quarter, so on and so forth. Got it? Now, I know that there's no way in hell they're going to ask me to literally count the 16 numbers and sum them up. It doesn't make any sense. So there has to be some kind of a trick, but at least now I have a much better feeling of what's going on here. Yes, so what do? As always, for the second time within the same question, and I've never taught it that way, but for the second time within the same question, what do? You plug in comfy numbers. At the beginning, I didn't even know what was going on here, so I just plugged in 1, 2, and 3. But the second time around, they're asking me about a S60. So what am I going to do? I'm going to again ask myself, because this is a must question, let's think about the sum, not about the different disparate constituents, but the sum of which. Okay, let's do this. First item, if I have the sum, right? First item is a 1. So from a sum of 0, let's just plug in some comfortable, let's just see what's going on here. So the first number, I get up to a sum of a 1. You see it? From a 0 to a sum of a 1. Then we go down a half. Okay. And obviously we get to a half.
But it's a negative half.
That's exactly my point.
רגע, תביא לי כמו שצייר.
אני חושב שעשינו את זה, אבל זה לא...
עשינו את זה.
כן, אני זוכרת את הסרטים.
Okay. I think so as well, and I usually do either 4 or 5. And then we go up, and then we go down, and then we go up, and then we go down. But every time you go down less than what you went up, right? And every time you go up less than what you went down. Got it? So at the beginning, it's going to be like from 1 to a half, and then you're going to go up, but you're not going to go all the way up to 1. Then you're going to go down, but you're not going to go all the way down to a half. Got it? So it's just going to be big, small. Got it? It's going to be between a half and a 1. This is a difficult question, even more difficult than the previous one. Correct answer choices. C. Yes.
How would you know to graph it?
I wouldn't. That's a very good question, but remember what I told you. If you don't know how to solve the question, then you need to plug in comfy numbers, right? So a sum, what is a sum? A sum is 1 minus a half, which is a half, right? And then to the half you add a third, right? And this is like this 3/6. This is 2/6. So this is 5/6. But then from 5/6 you subtract a quarter. Got it? So you get a feeling. Wait a minute. You always end up going down less than what you went up, right? So it's going to be between these two initial boundaries. You can also do it like that. By the way, some people also think about it 1/3 minus a quarter, and that is 1/12. Got it? So this sum, the sum of these two items is a half. The sum of these two items is a 12. They're teeny tiny. The sum of the next two items is a fifth minus a sixth, right? This is 1/30. That's minuscule. That doesn't matter. Got it? So yes, you do have a half. You are going to add up things to that half, but the things that you add, the more you go to the right-hand side, the less important they become. So it's not going to move on beyond that half, beyond the 1. Definitely. It's just that you're right. This is a nice explanatory aid. What's an aid? עזר. נכון, זה עזר. נכון? איך קוראים לעוזרים של מישהו פוליטי? אייט. זה בדיוק כמו המילה, אייט. It's a nice aid, but people are not always going to come up with it voluntarily. Okay, that was lesson of 6 sequences. Tal, do you have any questions from the handouts? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Of course. Daniel, do you have any other questions?
No.
No? That's
I
it?
think so.
Okay, no, do you have any other questions from the handouts? What about you? What about the other top?
geometry.
What? I'm sorry?
Geometry.
Oh, geometry, fantastic. Which one?
6, 9, and 10.
So, geometry 1 or 2? The first one?
אבל לא עשיתי, אני רק עשיתי את זה שבוע שעבר. כן, אני זוכרת שלא היה לי את זה. היה לנו גם טיפול.
הרבה.
Again? Which ones? Which
I
numbers?
think the second.
Which numbers were they?
The geometry too.
So geometry 2, that was lesson number 8, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
don't remember.
Never mind. Find it if you can. Geometry 2, which questions, please?
6, 9, and 10.
6, 9, and 10.
Six.
6, 9, and 10.
גם לי היה קשר.
Yep. So question number 6. Take a look at the whiteboard.
Yeah.
We did 10.
We did?
We solved question number 10 together? Now, take a look at question number 6. It's actually 8 questions all rolled into one. A cube, or 5 questions. A cube with a side of 5 is divided up into smaller cubes, each with a side of what? Okay. So, if we have 2 cubes, what is the linear ratio between these 2 cubes?
יואו, אני תמיד שוכחת את זה.
The linear ratio is 1 to 5. What you're forgetting is because they told you that it's a side of 5, right? This is a side of 5 and this is a side of 1, right? So, זוכרים ש-linear ratio זה היחס הקווי בין שתי הצורות, נכון? So, the volume ratio, think about it this way. שנייה.
Cubits.
125.
Okay, let me ask you something, just a sec. Volume. Volume. Is that 2D or 3D?
Really?
3D.
Oh, it's 5 to the third.
So you have to raise it to the power of 3. Got it? So if you guys don't remember, so please write it down. Remember that if we're talking about similar shapes, then linear squared is going to give you area. But linear to the power of 3 is going to give you the volume. Got it? Now, the thing is that you didn't really have to know this in order to solve the question. That was not the issue here. But it was a bit helpful. So, one last time, if this is 1 to 5, then the volume ratio is going to be 1 to 125. Got it? Which most of us cannot imagine. Most of us find it relatively difficult to imagine that this, and by the way, this is a reliable drawing, but most of us find it difficult to imagine that this little cube here shows up 125 inside of that big cube there. But that's exactly what's going on. Just an indication that it's not a very good idea to just rely on the drawing, especially when we're talking about volumes. So a cube with a side of 5 is divided up into smaller cubes. What would happen to the large cube's volume and the large cube's surface area given each of the following scenarios? Now, let's assume we remove cube A. What is the volume of cube A? We just tear it out. 1, right? So what's going to happen to the volume of the big cube if you remove 1? Minus 1, exactly. It's going to get smaller by a factor of, by 1.
רגע, הנפח של הקובייה הגדולה 125.
כן.
אתה לא רושם 124.
זה בעצם 125 פחות 1 וזה יהיה שווה ל-124, נכון. אבל זה הנוח. בסדר דניאל?
כן.
Now, here's the deal. It doesn't matter if I remove cube A, Gabriel, cube B, or cube C. The volume is always going to be smaller, to become smaller by 1. Everybody agrees? Actually, the important thing here is what's happening with the surface area. That's a big deal here. Now, what did we say that surface area is? What is surface area defined by?
Linear.
לא, connection, touch
All
there.
faces.
Exactly. Surface area is סכום כל המשטחים הבאים במגע The sum of all of the surfaces that come in contact with the surrounding air, right? Now, let's assume, just a sec. Let's assume that you remove A.